Hello there, and welcome to the latest edition in my series, How to Run Cyberpunk Red. We're still in the character creation process, and this video focuses on the biggest facet of Cyberpunk Red characters, skills. I'll be going over what kind of skills exist, some examples of the skills available, and the various creation method options available for assigning ranks in those skills. Before diving into that, though, let me get some promotional stuff out of the way. Please hit that like and subscribe button below if you're enjoying my content. It's a small gesture, but it means quite a lot for a small creator like me. Hit that bell icon so you can get notifications when I drop new content. I also have a Patreon account set up for reviews and deep dives that are only available there. Currently, I'm posting reviews for The Residence, a murder mystery dramedy. Lastly, please check out my other channel, The King's Square Reviews, where I regularly post TV, movie, and book reviews. Thanks for listening, and now to dive into the skills system for Cyberpunk Red. To say skills are the biggest part of Cyberpunk Red is an understatement. Unlike other TTRPGs that involve increasing your base statistics, Cyberpunk Red's focus is on growing your proficiency with skills to round out your character. Pretty much everything you do in Cyberpunk Red, from gathering information about your surroundings, to dodging attacks, to making attacks with various types of weapons, to fixing a broken piece of equipment, is done as a skill check. Now, not all skills cost the same value. There are some skills that are marked with an X2 next to them, making them what are called ×2 skills. ×2 skills cost double the number of points to increase a rank in the skill, but there are only a small handful of them on your character sheet. You'll find the skills section in your Cyberpunk Red core rulebook, link for that book is in the description below, on page 81 and continues all the way to page 90. There are 9 skill categories: awareness, body, control, education, fighting, performance, ranged weapon, social, and technique. Some of these are self-explanatory, but I'll dive into examples of each one as we go on. Each skill is associated with one of the 10 stats that I covered in the character creation stats video. Awareness skills represent your ability to notice things in your immediate environment. Skills like concentration focus on your character's ability to ignore distractions or recall information that may have been forgotten. Perception focuses on spotting things that are hidden, like someone using the stealth skill to hide. With the exception of concentration, which is tied to your willpower stat, the remaining entries in the awareness category are tied to your intelligence stat. Body skills involve physical activities like feats of strength or endurance. Under the body category are skills like athletics, dance, and contortionist, which obviously focus on how well your character can move and manipulate their body. Stealth also falls under the body category, but so do the skills endurance and resist torture drugs, which obviously represent how well can you adapt to harsh environments and the harmful effects of interrogation and/or drugs that can be encountered in the game. Endurance and resist torture and drugs are the only skills in this category tied to the willpower stat. The rest of the skills in this category are tied to the dexterity stat. Control skills focus on how good you are at controlling vehicles or riding animals. This is where you would put in ranks if you want your character to be able to drive or pilot land, sea, and air vehicles, but it also covers how well you'd be able to ride a living creature, such as a horse. All of the skills in this category are tied to the reflex stat. Education skills highlight knowledge your character has obtained, most likely through some kind of formal schooling or extensive training. There's a wide range of skills in this category that are business focused, such as accounting, bureaucracy, and business. There are others that are more generalized, like education, deduction, and gamble. Wilderness survival and languages also fall under this category. Language is the first example of a skill where you treat each entry learned as a separate skill that requires ranks to be purchased. All of the skills under the education category are tied to the intelligence stat. Fighting skills can be your focus if your focus is on hand-to-hand or melee combat. Under this category are skills like brawling, evasion, martial arts, and melee weapon. Martial arts is the first of the ×2 skills I mentioned earlier in this video. When you decide to put a rank into martial arts, you decide which discipline you're going to learn, such as karate, taekwondo, judo, or aikido. You can learn multiple forms, but each one is treated as a separate skill, similar to the language skill under education. All of the fighting skills are tied to the dexterity stat. Performance skills focus on things like acting, musical performances, disguises, and the like. There are only 2 entries for this category, acting and play instrument. Acting covers both how well you can assume a role, but also how well you can disguise yourself to look like someone else. Like language and martial arts, play instrument is a skill where each entry is treated as a separate skill with its own rank totals. For example, you could have ranks in singing as well as guitar or drums, but each of those would be considered an individual entry under play instrument. Acting is tied to your character's cool stat, while play instrument is connected to the technique stat. Ranged weapons are just what they mean, the primary focus on using various types of ranged weaponry like guns and bows. Under the ranged weapon category, you'll find skills such as archery, auto fire, one of the special attack options for certain types of guns, handgun, heavy weapons, and shoulder arms. Auto fire and heavy weapons are both ×2 skills, so increasing ranks in them will cost double the normal amount. All of the ranged weapon skills are tied to the reflex stat. Social skills are for the characters that want to be able to talk their way into and potentially out of trouble, but it also covers how well your character can show their personal style and appearance. There's an eclectic assortment of items in this category, like bribery, which would cover your character's ability to know when a bribe could work and what kind of bribe would work best, as well as streetwise and trading. It also includes skills for social interactions like conversation, human perception, persuasion, and interrogation. But there's also skills like personal grooming and wardrobe and style, which convey how attractive and stylish you can make your character. With the exception of human perception and conversation, which use the empathy stat, the rest of the skills in this category use the cool stat. Because human perception and conversation are tied to the empathy stat, these are the only 2 skills that you can lose ranks in as your empathy stat decreases, reflecting lost points in your humanity score. Lastly, technique skills are focused on vocational skills like maintaining vehicles and equipment or crafting skills. This covers regular items like basic tech, first aid, paint, draw, or sculpt, but also specialized skills like demolition or forgery. And you'll also find the skills related to repairing mechanical items like cyber tech, land vehicle tech, electronics, security tech, and the like here. All of the skills under this category are obviously connected to the technique stat. Now let's dive into how you get your skills at character creation. Skill levels run from 1 to 10 ranks, with 10 obviously being the highest and meaning your character has spent extensive amounts of time perfecting their abilities. There's a collection of skills referred to in the core rulebook as basic skills. These represent the common knowledge someone in the time of the Red would know, meaning your character would have at least 2 ranks in the following skills: athletics, brawling, concentration, conversation, education, evasion, first aid, human perception, language, street slang, local expert, your home, perception, persuasion, and stealth. Keep in mind that your character also automatically starts off with 4 ranks in a language tied to their cultural background from their life path. To determine what skills you should use and how many ranks you should have in them, we go back to the 3 methods I mentioned in the stats video: Street Rat, Edge Runner, and Complete Package. Street Rat is the easiest option available since it's a pre-generated list of skills and the ranks they should have in them based on your role. You can find these on pages 86 and 87 in the core rulebook. The Street Rat templates ensure that your character has at least 2 ranks, sometimes more, in all of the basic skills I outlined before, as well as skills that make sense to include based on the role. For example, someone playing the tech role is going to have ranks in skills like basic tech, weapons tech, and electronics security tech, emphasizing their proficiency with technology. By contrast, someone playing the media role would put ranks into skills like lip reading, composition, bribery, and persuasion, which fits for a character that is meant to be interacting with people on a regular basis. The main downside to using the Street Rat templates is that your character may feel too cookie cutter and limited. The Edge Runner method allows for a bit more freedom when deciding how many ranks you would put in skills, but still puts a limit on which skills you should be investing in based on the role you've decided to play. You'll find the breakdown for this creation option on page 88 in the core rulebook. You'll be starting off with 86 skill points to fill out the ranks of your skills. No skill can have more than 6 ranks in them, and no less than 2 ranks in them. The basic skills that I outlined before must have at least 2 ranks in them. Skills that are marked with the ×2 next to them cost 2 points per rank to increase. All of the other skills only cost 1 point per rank. You'll be working off templates based on the role you've decided to play, and each template has a selection of 20 skills in them. The 13 basic skills and 7 skills that a given role would be most closely associated with. The 4 ranks you get in your cultural background language are free, so they don't deduct from the 86 points you have at your disposal. Edge Runner gives you, as a player, quite a bit of freedom when it comes to how many ranks you want in a given skill, but there is still the limitation on which skills are available to you. Given the sheer number of skills available on the character sheet, there are a total of 67 different skills to pick from, it can be overwhelming to decide what you should focus on. The Edge Runner templates give you a good spectrum of skills that a character of that specific role would most likely want to have expertise in. A rocker boy, for example, would most likely have ranks in wardrobe and style, as well as play instrument, since a rocker is expected to put on a show for people. By contrast, a netrunner that spends their time hacking into computer systems would definitely want to have ranks in skills like cryptography and electronics security tech. Last method is the complete package, and this is the one that can be daunting to tackle if this is your first time working with Cyberpunk Red's character creation process. Like the Edge Runner method, you start off with 86 points to use. No skill can have more than 6 ranks in it. You have to have at least 2 ranks in all of the basic skills. ×2 skills still cost 2 points per every 1 rank you want to put in that skill, and you still get the 4 ranks of your cultural background language for free. Unlike Edge Runner, though, you have free reign to put ranks into whatever skills you want your character to use, and you can have 1 rank in a skill if you want to, something you couldn't do with the Edge Runner method. For Game Masters, this is probably going to be the section of character creation that takes the most amount of time and will require the greatest amount of patience. In the Cyberpunk Red campaigns I've run, this part of the process easily took 45 minutes to an hour to get through. Considering I had 6 people at the table, that's to be expected though. With a smaller group of 4 to 5 people, you're still looking at about half an hour to 45 minutes to get the skills section filled out. My bias is towards the complete package method, since it grants the most amount of freedom for players to pick what they want their characters to look like and what they can do. With that being said, using the templates is absolutely a valid option, especially for players that feel overwhelmed by the volume of choices at their disposal. Edge Runner may be the best of both worlds in that regard. A house rule I would suggest using is to allow your player to substitute some of the non-basic skills from the Edge Runner template based on their character concept and the build they want to work toward. That about covers it for the skills portion of character creation. My next video will cover the weapons and armor portion of the character creation process. Thanks so much for listening, and make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you've enjoyed this video.